Hi traders, John Howell here. Today I want to help you with the terminology false breakouts and then also what the terminology slingshot pattern means, because that's exactly what we're getting right now in a lot of the mining sector. So we're getting that false breakout patterns, and I want to teach you how to identify when a false breakout is likely to happen. So one, you can stay away from those breakouts. And secondly, you can start to get a good understanding of what's going on in the market. So let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video, because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty traders, so before I do start, a bit of an announcement to make. For the last couple of days, I've been running a 95% off sale to my Inner Circle private coaching program. This is my top tier coaching program. Today is I've been running it because of my son's, celebrating my son's birthday, but today is the very last day, guys. You can get 95% off. After that, then it's going to go back up to the full price. So you can still get access to it, but it's just going to go back up to the full price. You won't be able to get the 95% off. And plus also, I'm going to be shutting it down after today, and then by the end of this year, you'll be able to get access to it for the full price at the end of this year if you want to. But if you really are struggling with the trading right now, guys, I promise you, my Inner Circle private coaching program, where I'm coaching you every single day and every single week, showing you my systems, my strategies, how I scan the markets, and they're really just helping you along the way, not just giving you the systems, but also they're helping you. Then this is for you. So go to Johns, Johns, freetraining.com, johnsfreetraining.com. And once you go there, you put your email address in, and then on the very next page, I'm going to give you access to a free training that walks you through about who I am more personally, about my systems that I trade, how I trade the markets, and then also you can get access to that 95% off. But today is the very last day, guys. So let's actually talk about this here, because this is something that's really important for the markets. And so looking at the GDX, we've got the GDX here, and then also the GDXJ as well too. And then this is just not this here. This doesn't just apply to the gold mining sector, right? It applies to all markets out there. See, one thing you'll realize is that if I bring up, let's do this here, and this is one thing that people don't understand, or maybe you do understand, but it took me a long time to really fully grasp this terminology or this thing here. A lot of people think, I'm looking at the mining sector and I'm trading the mining sector. But if I go look at, let's go look at Bitcoin now. So I'm going to look at Bitcoin. And so I need to analyze Bitcoin differently. Or if I go to the Forex market, I need to analyze the Forex market differently, right? Or if I go to the stock market, let's actually bring up stock market. This is actually Apple now, right? This is Apple. Oh, I need to analyze that differently. And actually, let's go to the bond market, right? I need to analyze that differently. Or let's go to oil market, right? I need to analyze that differently. Now, what I just said there is not true. We don't need to analyze differently, because you'll notice that all markets do the same patterns, the same setups, the same sort of things, right? Because it's the same machines and same humans that control all markets. So once we can start to really look at what the actual market is doing, right? What the actual market is actually doing from here, and what I call the flow of the market. And again, this takes time, right? Because especially with my private clients, what I do is I take them through a 4-step process to finding what I call the perfect setup. And the perfect setup, almost over 90% of the time, is going to make a profit, right? If you can wait for those perfect setups, and that's why trading can be so simple. The hard bit is waiting for their setups. But what I was saying there is that there's really a 4-step process to really not only identifying a good setup, but really understanding how to read the markets. What I'm going to be talking to you about today is in step number 3, part of step number 3 anyway, of reading the markets. And the purpose of me just telling you that there is that if you want to become a good trader, it's important to get good at reading the chart, right? Because you know, if you've been watching me for quite some time, you know that majority of the time I'm doing this. I'm looking at the chart, and then I might say, you know what? I'm looking at the daily charts, and then I'm going to put a moving average on the charts. Now this is a 52 moving average. The moving average is not important, okay? Now the moving average does give me a bit of gauge, but you'll know that this is all I use to trade. And guess what? I have a really high win-loss ratio, so on and so forth. But the majority of the part is seeing the market for what it really is. And so the purpose of me telling you that is that I don't want you to be thinking like, oh, well, this technique applies to the Forex market. Or if I trade the Forex market didn't, I couldn't trade the Forex market well. But if I went to the stock market, I'm going to trade the stock market well. It's like, it's not the market, it's the driver, right? It's the driver. For me, guys, I trade all markets. I try. Majority of the time, I'm trading the stock market, but every day I'm scanning all the markets: the Forex market, bond market, stock market, crypto market, and so on and so forth. So I wanted to start off with that prefaces, but by that there to share with you that you apply this analysis to any market out there. So looking at the charts here, I want to walk you through what's called a false breakout and how this tends to form. See, the way the market works, and you'll be able to see even with oil here, right? The market never goes in one direction too much, right? We always get what's called a flow of a market, okay? And so we always get a flow up, a flow down, a flow up, a flow down. Like we get flows, right? We never just go up and up and up and up and up. And that's where, like right now, as I'm doing this recording, inflation is starting to pull back a little bit, but and it's been high. But the fear is that the market's going to just keep. So what's happening? Inflation was doing this, and then it's actually spiked up like this, right? Recently, the fear that people have in their mind, the fear, what they think is that's what's going. The market's the inflation is just going to keep doing that. When if this was inflation here, and call this 2% and call this 10% here, right? And this is like 100%. The fear, we always get we have this fear that this is going to happen. But as you know, if we understand the flow of life, there's highs, there's lows, there's things need to come back to equilibrium, right? And if something gets way too out of equilibrium, and things start to become too stretched, guess what happens? We pull back, don't we? It's like, for example, me yesterday, right? Yesterday, I took some pre-workout before I went to the gym, and I had a really good. Actually, I did a boot camp for 45 minutes. Man, that kicked my ass. I actually, in the morning, I got up, I went for a 45-minute run, came back, did my trading, did some business stuff, helped my private clients, and then went to and then I went to the gym and did a 45-minute boot camp workout. So that was my workout for the day. And then a few hours later, I went to the soccer fields and played soccer with my kids. So anyway, so the purpose of me telling you this is and sort of helping you out with this is that the whole flow here, right, is that we had this fear of this here, but it's not. We've got to look at the reality of the situation. What tends to happen is that if we get too much like this, we don't just keep going up and up and up, right? There's inevitably going to come a time, just like even what happened when we look at here, right? Step up, little step up. Look what happened. We started going what? Vertical. And it's at this point in time through here, through here, through here, through here, that you need to start to put on that whole thing that, this is now getting towards the end of the move. Now, what I'm teaching you here, guys, is part of what I call the false breakout pattern, right? Because the market will do this. It'll go up, up, and up, and up, and up. And knowing that we're getting towards, knowing that we've used a lot of energy, because when the market goes up, 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 and up, and up like this, up, 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 there's a lot of energy it's using. It's going down, 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 down. It's using a lot of energy. But then there's a kind of period of time where the market goes sideways to actually build up energy, right? If it's going up a lot, we're using a lot of energy. If we're going down a lot, there's a lot of energy selling it, or buying it. And then there's inevitably going to be the pullbacks and so on and so forth, right? So as you can see through here, that inevitably when the market just keeps going up and up and up and up, like BBBY did recently, and I was looking to short that thing actually. That was a gamble trade. It wasn't actually a system trade, but a gamble trade. I didn't short it, but inevitably what ends up happening. Look at this here. Look, it went from like 128 down to what? 96, and this is a daily chart. It went from basically almost 130 down to what is that? Yeah, 90. Call it almost 90 in a matter of days. That's what happens, right? Because we get too out of equilibrium. There's like an elastic band. So the further you stretch the elastic band, stretch it, guess what happens? We end up getting what? We end up getting a snapback, right? And that's where, whenever you're watching any market out there, if you start to see a market, and this is where I have nothing against cryptocurrencies. I just like to make money. I don't like to get into something that's already, understanding what I just said there. I don't like to get into something that hasn't made a move yet. So if I go to my weekly charts with Bitcoin, and I saw, look at this here. Do you see this here? When Bitcoin started getting into the 50,000 plus above, that started to put on my little alert. I'm like this is 50,000 here, and then once we started doing this is like a lot of people trying to capture this move, right? Like through here, even if it goes to 60 or even up here to 70,000 up here, it's like, what is the probability of what's coming real soon? We don't know when, right? Well, what's the probability coming real soon? We're going to get what? We're going to get a hard and fast snapback. Because look at this here. This thing has just gone up way too fast, way too, like to there, right? We want a nice, healthy bull market. And whenever that happens, this is called a bubble. We can identify bubbles on the charts. It's very hard to identify when the bubble is going to end sometimes, but we can identify bubbles on the charts. And this is how you identify a bubble. And so when this happened through here, I was telling my private clients, listen, this is the wrong time to get into it, because there's a massive probability, even if we get up here, there's a massive probability we're going to make our way back down to at least 80% of the bubble. And a lot of the times 100%. A lot of the times the wherever the vertical move started is where the market will actually pull back to. Right, and this is what happened back here and the same thing was happening back in 2017, right? We had this big vertical spike through here, and when I was looking at this, I'm like, this thing has just gone absolutely nuts. There's no way I'm touching this thing, right? And look at this thing. So it went up, and so probably around 15,000. When this happened, guess what happened? Everyone was going, even my ex-wife was all over Bitcoin. The purpose of me telling you this here, guys, is that this is when you want to stay away from markets. Don't try and buy it through here, because you may be right, but this is now what? Big move up. There's a high probability that we're going to start to see a very big move back down to retrace this massive bubble. How do you identify a bubble? When something goes vertical like this, please don't be thinking, go look at any market that does that. What inevitably happens? BBY, Bitcoin recently. Again, I'm nothing against people think I hate Bitcoin. No, I just like to put in things that I just like to put my money smartly. Why would I get into something when I know it has a 90% probability or almost 100% probability that when the bubble finishes, we're going to retrace 100% of where it started? And I didn't care if I bought it at 14 or 15 or 16 and it went to 20. Right? No. What do I care about? That inevitably I see this thing heading back down to where it started, which is around that sort of 5 to 3,000 mark, somewhere around there. See that through there? And then guess what happened? The market actually went down. I actually shorted Bitcoin through here because I saw this breakdown here. I shorted Bitcoin and made some really good money on it. But the purpose of me is telling you that is once you understand what I just said there, a lot of the times the market will give you like a move up, a big move up, and then it'll give you a one last little push, and that's what causes the false breakouts. Let me just share with you this through here. So I'll do this through here, and I'll share with you a false breakout pattern that I'm talking about here, right? So let's just do this here. All right, so this is just an example of a false breakout pattern that I identified for my private clients. This was back early this year, and this happens all the time, right? As you see, there was a big false breakout that actually happened on the actual stock market, the futures market. That was a couple of days ago, last week. So the purpose of me telling you this is actually with my private clients. Again, I'm running that 95% off sale today, but with my private clients, I give them a full, complete step-by-step workbook menu of how to really not only just trade the market but understand these markets. And this is actually page 27 here, and you can see I talk about this over here, right? About the energy in the markets. And let me do this here a bit thicker, right? So this bit through here, talk about the energy markets. And what tends to happen is, remember I said before, when the market goes up, 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 and up, and up, up like this, we've got to be really careful, right? Because why? Because we're looking for the markets to, now we've done a lot of moving up. Like, yes, we could keep going up, but what happens sometimes, it may get a little pullback and then go for another run. And this is what's called a false breakout. We go up, 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 and up, and up. And guess what? Now I'm expecting to see something like this, right? Or at least something like this for a while to allow things to sort of settle and balance out. But what happens? What does happen sometimes is when the market runs up, 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 up like this, and then we just get a little pullback, and then we get to go again. A lot of the times, this here will be that false breakout because we had a lot of move, and then we'll just reverse here, and you get stopped out here. The market does this. It's called the false breakout pattern. Okay, and so by looking at that, if I actually go, let's actually do this back here. So you'll see Bitcoin also did this at the end as well too, right? This is what Bitcoin actually did it on this second leg up towards the middle of last year. Look, Bitcoin did the exact same thing. Look at this, right? See, look at this. See how we actually had a very big move up, and then we went sideways just a little bit, and then we had another run. And guess what? Because we already did a very big move, it's like, oh, this is towards the end of a move, right? It's not towards the start after good pullback. And then the market actually turned around. So the only way, again, the only way for you to really start to see this is actually to start to get really good at identifying these patterns on the markets, okay? And so I'm just sharing with you what I see through there. If I go to, or I'll share with you, this will actually happen. I talked about the futures market before, so let's go to have a look at the futures market, the S&P. I was trading the futures market on the 15-minute chart, and you'll be able to see, is that the, oh no, here we go, here, ES. Where was it? Here, right? So I was looking at the futures market, and I was watching the futures market live, and I saw this here, right? But look at this here. Notice how we've got a bit of a breakout bar. Like, if I zoom in, look at this here. It's like, oh, John, it's a breakout bar. Here we go. This is the sucker breakout bar. Why? Firstly, let's squeeze our charts up. Don't zoom your charts in like this, right? Because now you're not seeing the true picture. What we need to do is we need to zoom our charts out a little bit more like this. So zoom it out, and we want to make this just a little bit smaller, right? To get a, there we go, like something like that, right? We just want to get a good clear picture of what the market's really telling us. And look at this here. When I saw this, and then I just saw this, and then we get to go again, guess what? It's after a big move. Anytime we see a big move up or a big move down, taking any long position up here or any short position down here is a very dangerous thing. And so when I saw this, I'm like, this is going to be a false breakout. This is going to completely suck people out. And what happens here? And again, this is for my coaching program. This is what I talk about. Like, I do like a weekly coaching every single week, and I'm talking about this sort of stuff every week to really help people understand these markets. Again, you can grab that 95% off sale that I'm running, first link in description. Or at least if you're not interested in the actual coaching program, still go to that link in the description, and then you still get like a 60-minute training on like my strategy that I use to identify trades, right? So a lot of people, they'll actually put a stop down here, and then look what happened. Completely false breakout, right? Why was this going to be a false breakout? Because it already made a very big move up, and now we're doing this here. So the same happens for the flip side. And so if I go to now the GDX, and I'm going to share this with you here. If I go to the GDX chart right now, and oh man, look at that rally through there. Absolutely just, again, if you guys are watching me last week, I was calling for this rally. People are like, oh, John, yeah, you called the rally. Let's see what happens in a few weeks' time. Like, no, what I was calling has already happened. It's done and dusted, right? Let's see what the market forms now over the next week or two, and then we can make another decision. I was calling for a drop here, and then we got that done and dusted. For the last few weeks, I was calling for a rally in the markets. We got that. That's the cause now. Actually, the call came true. It's done and dusted. Now we sit back, we reassess, and see what actually happens. People. So if we go look at the mining sector, and this is why I'm saying through here with the mining sector, look what we have here. So we'll go through the GDXJ first, okay? And so if we go through the GDXJ, if I go to this weekly chart on the GDXJ, see how we're getting something really similar to what I just said there, but flipped upside down here. So notice how we have a very strong move down, and then we had like a very small little pullback, and then we went again through here. This is the weekly chart. So I knew anything down here is probably going to be what? A false breakout. Why? Because it's at the end of a big move down. When we have a big move up, and then we go again, it's probably going to be a false breakout, just like that. If we have a big move down and we go again, we're probably going to have that happening through there. Make sense? So that's what we're looking through. That's the reason why this was a actual false. That's why I was actually calling, and it came true. That's why that through there, and even the GDX as well too. So the GDX, the same sort of thing. I was saying that as this market was going down through here, that listen, this is towards the end of the move. This is not a shorting opportunity with this one here. This is likely to be a false breakout, meaning that was the low through there. It broke out or broke down, and there's a massive probability. I don't know when, but there's a massive probability over the next few days we're probably going to start to see a complete reversal, getting back above this level. And creating, now this has actually created exactly what I've been calling for the last few days, a false breakout, right? Or a false breakdown. It broke down, it probably got a lot of people short, and now we're actually doing this here. So again, if we go back to the weekly charts, why was I confident in calling that? It's the exact same thing that I just mentioned there a minute ago. So we have a very big move down, we had a little sideways, then we had one last little push. And then guess what? Now we're probably going to start to do something like this, and so that's how you see false breakouts. Okay, after the market's done a very big move, it doesn't matter what it is. It's actually really interesting because when you start to see these very big moves, sometimes you can pick the top. So for example, if I look at a forex market, and then I'll get to this here. So when I say false breakout and a slingshot pattern coming. The false breakout is what the false breakout's already happened right now. Okay, it's already confirmed. It's already done. Meaning, it's actually broke down and now it's actually rallying back up. The slingshot move simply means that we get a pull down and then we get a rally back up. So we've got the pull down, and we're probably going to get a rally back up. We're probably going to get a rally back up towards these 27 level. That's what the slingshot pattern is. We pull back and we slingshot to the upside. After it gets up to here, then the slingshot move is done, and then this actually could start a big bull market or something else. But right now, we have a high probability of getting back up towards the 27 level. And so I was going to share something with you. Just let me actually share this with you here. So the USD JPY, because I've been watching this on a weekly chart, and the same sort of thing, the same sort of scenario. Look how vertical we've been on this USD JPY forex market. I've been now looking and watching these markets to see. Because I know how high we are on these weekly charts, I'm looking at the daily charts and say the 4-hour charts and stuff like that to see look for shorting opportunities, because I know we're probably going to start to see a downside to come. But again, and even possibly go down to the hourly chart, which I'm looking at through here on this USD JPY chart. So anyway, the purpose of me telling you this is that exactly what I said there, because we've done so much price now or so much move up, we're probably likely to see a movement down on the USD JPY chart, as you can see through there. But again, when I say I'm using my analysis, which is I see on the weekly chart we're very, very, very oversold. Now I'm looking for my pattern to short the market. I'm not just gonna try and short the market. I'm going to try to look for my pattern and look for my setup to actually start to look to actually short this market, which it does look like we actually could be getting something coming real soon. Let's just bring on. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Anyway, so that's it for me today, traders. I hope you enjoy this here. This is me. I really wanted to go in a bit more detail here about what the false breakout pattern is, why I was calling false breakout, why it actually came true on the mining sector, but how you can actually start to see bubbles on the chart, and how you can start to read the chart a bit more, and also understand when a false breakout is likely to happen. So make sure, guys, once again, if you are really struggling with your trading right now, you really need to join my Inner Circle program. And again, you can get it for 95% off. Today's the last day that I'm running it, because I'm celebrating my son's birthday this week. So after today, then it's gone. But guys, if you really are struggling with the trading right now, then you really need what I teach. Not only do I teach you the best stuff like I'm teaching you right now, but I'm there helping you and coaching you and to help you along the way, because you may have the strategies, but then there's a lot more that goes into trading. I'm pretty sure you know that helps you become a well-rounded, what I call a really good trader. So anyway, go to Johns, JOHNS, freetraining.com, or the stupid link in the description, and I'll see you real soon.